place where agencies would come to equip their volunteers, the place that they would come to rely on to have the tools they needed in the right numbers, working like they were brand new and here exactly when they needed them. And as Leslie pointed out, with our phenomenal program growth, we've largely achieved that vision. There's still a lot more that we can do, a lot more to go. And I guess over the last 2 years, I've learned a lot about Charlotte in this position. And one of the things, I guess if you would have asked me 2 years ago, like, what is the tool bank? I probably would have said, the tool bank is tools. All around you, thousands and thousands of them. And I learned a lot about tools since being here. I learned that a sawzall is also called a reciprocating saw. I did not know that before. You didn't know that either, did you? I did. And I also learned that I am not the only person who confused a shovel with a digging bar. You've done that too, haven't you? And I have learned a lot about Charlotte's charitable agencies. There are so many agencies I have now met that I didn't even know existed, and they're doing some of the coolest things here in Charlotte. I didn't even know half of this stuff was going on. It was almost like I was a stranger in my own city. I've had the privilege of working with more than 170 agencies in this area, from the smallest grassroots organizations that rely solely on volunteer manpower to some of Charlotte's largest nonprofits. And so if you were to ask me today what the tool bank is, I would say the tool bank really isn't tools. The tool bank is people. We are the people, not only that are here in this warehouse, putting those tools out in the community, we are also those 170 plus agencies that are currently relying on our tools. We are all of the volunteers who pick up our tools. A tool is a useless thing until it's in somebody's hands, until somebody's actually doing something with it, making a difference in our community. That's what the tool bank is. We're people. And people evolve, and the tool bank needs to evolve too. In the last 2 years, things have come to our attention. There are needs that aren't being met among our member agencies. And we feel that the Charlotte Tool Bank is in a unique position to meet these growing and evolving needs of our member agencies and the nonprofits who haven't even discovered us yet. And that is why I am excited to announce today the launch of our annual fund, which we have dubbed Retooling Charlotte. Like that, don't you? I do that. That's my pointing to you. But Retooling Charlotte, we have set a goal of $185,000 in its first year. And those funds are going to help us support new initiatives here at the Tool Bank. We want to do more for our member agencies. We want to truly equip them with the tools for success. First and foremost, we're going to invest in our infrastructure. The Tool Bank's people. We have been very fortunate this year that we were able to bring on a part-time staff person so that the one-man shop is no longer cheap. And that is Sherry Osmer. Sherry? We're so happy to have Sherry. The 0.5. Well, we need to turn 0.5 into a 1.
Amen.
And so, infrastructure. We need to invest in our people. We need to increase our capacity to serve. We keep growing and growing and growing, and we got to be able to not only meet the growing demand that we're experiencing, but also to continue delivering superior customer service for member agencies and being good stewards of our resources, being accountable, and being community collaborators. And we can't continue to do that at the level that we're currently doing it unless we invest in our infrastructure. Number 2, we are going to start bringing in more consumable supplies for our member agencies to use. We've already actually been doing this to a certain degree, and it's been pretty successful. So that, I know Paul from Charlotte Family Housing is here. So when a family moves out of the transitional housing, Paul has to paint come to the tool bank, and when he borrowed his roller cages and paint trays, we could also send him off with some liners and some paintbrushes and some roller covers. We're now going to further reduce the costs that Charlotte Family Housing has to incur to do volunteer projects. We also want to create a database of skilled tradesmen. One of the most common things I get asked from our member agencies is, do you know a general contractor? Do you know an electrician? Because we really need to get this project done, and we can't do it. So we make phone calls. Usually we go to Home Depot first. Who do you know? And so we're already, to an extent, connecting our member agencies with resources. Why don't we try to put a little bit more effort into it to do it right? Because how great would it be if Julie from the men's shelter could then know ahead of time that an electrical contractor has agreed to donate 12 hours in a given year. And she knows that, and she knows when he will be available. And now she can plan her project. And she can be even more effective, and she can even save a whole lot more money. More money that the men's shelter now has to contribute to their programming. We're all about reducing costs and making agencies more effective. And this will help us do that. And number 3, we are going to try our hand at a pilot program. And again, this arises from agencies like the men's shelter asking us to connect them with resources. And we do, because we care about our member agencies. We go the extra mile for them. We would like to launch what we're going to call 20 for 20 veterans. It's a pilot program. It's adaptable. We can adapt it to change to the community's needs. And one thing that we realize that is a need right now is veterans and agencies serving veterans are doing a fantastic job of executing large-scale projects to benefit veterans. But we're seeing that small to mid-sized projects, there's a gap there. There is a service gap. And we are going to fill that. Because again, we are uniquely positioned to do so. So 20 for 20, we are going to do 20 projects with a baseline budget of $1,000 each, benefiting at least 20 veterans, agencies serving veterans. We're going to make an impact. And basically, when it's all said and done, that really is what it's all about. We are reimagining what it means to be a premier tool lender. We are not only going to be the place that agencies turn to when they need tools in the right quantities, working like they're new, and here when they need them. We're also going to be the ultimate resource for hands-on projects in Charlotte. And with your help, we can achieve it. And so on that note, I would like to turn it over to a very important partner of the Charlotte ToolBank, Mr. Jay Everette with Wells Fargo has joined us today, and he has a special announcement to make.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to join you today, and thanks to our friends at ToolBank for hosting us this morning. I am here today with several team members from Wells Fargo, some who serve on the board or advisory board with ToolBank. Christy Thomas, our community affairs officer, who right now is in the middle of running and planning our largest annual volunteer event of the year. It's called Day of Caring, and it's June 1st, and we have over 100 service projects across the region. That's actually a 10-county region. Mecklenburg's right in the center of it. And we'll have over 2,000 of our team members and their family members out volunteering that day in the community, making a difference, working with nonprofits in local communities. And there are some big projects, and kind of like Angela was saying, it's spectrum and scale. There are some really small projects too, but each one of them are meaningful in their own way because they come from requests from the community. The reason I mentioned that program to you is that it really wouldn't be possible without ToolBank. We know from the past 2 years working with ToolBank They are our partner in basically getting all of these things here into the hands of all those volunteers at over 100 different locations and putting them to use that day. And then we do service projects throughout the year as well. We've run the financials on it. We're a financial institution, Wells Fargo, so you look for your return on investment. You have to justify that type of thing. And what we found is that it's close to $60,000 in fees that we would have to pay, in cost that we would have to pay to do this project out of pocket if we didn't have a resource like ToolBank. So there's an economic reason that this model works for nonprofits and that it works for groups, whether you're a faith-based organization, a corporation, a community organization, a community development corporation, whoever it is, this system and process works. And it's been proven in multiple cities. We got started here in Charlotte, I'll be real honest with you, only because our counterpart in Atlanta, where ToolBank started with great leadership and help from Home Depot, she called and she said, look, there's a group that's looking to come to Charlotte. They do amazing work. We have a strong partnership with them, and they really are kind of the gasoline or the fuel anytime we're doing a hands-on volunteer project out in the community. And so I met with their leadership, and we started funding them immediately, providing a seed grant to get kicked off here in Charlotte, and then we funded in the past couple of years too. So one of the neat things about ToolBank is it's such a great model, but not many people know about it. Some people have referred to it as like the best kept secret here in Charlotte. And the reality is that in order for the organization to have a successful retool program and to hit on those three initiatives that Angela just mentioned, it can't be a best kept secret. People need to know about it. And that's one reason that they've invited all of us here this morning. So, one thing you can take away from today is a request to please help with telling and selling the ToolBank. And that doesn't cost you a thing other than the fact that you are now deputized as ambassadors and you can go out and you can spread the word. The second thing is that, you've heard of a funding goal, which I think is a really big funding goal, but I think it's appropriate for our community. And so, to continue our support for ToolBank, Wells Fargo is actually pleased to announce a $25,000 challenge grant towards this initiative. And so we are going to make that commitment this year in order to get this effort to its first 50,000, hopefully a little more quickly than what it would be otherwise. So that means that obviously if you're a business, a corporation, an individual, a foundation, you give dollars and they are automatically matched. So if someone were to make a commitment of $100 stake, it's automatically $200 just like that. So it's quick value. If somebody wants to write a check for $25,000 before you leave, then we will have met. We can all go home after. I really just ask that you please help to get this word out too, because this is the type of thing that helps start a dialogue or a conversation, especially with individuals that aren't familiar with the organization, to say, and if you believe in it, you want to come and visit, you want to see, and you want to learn about the concept and see the value, and you want to make a contribution, then now's the time to do it because your dollars will be matched. It's very compelling for families too, with children who really want to start to understand concepts behind giving and philanthropy and supporting community, that even something like a $5 bill can automatically become $10. So we are very pleased to be an advocate for ToolBank. They're an amazing partner with us in all of our service efforts. We feel strongly that there's a need for this in our community. We have our team members engaged in thought process, serving on the advisory board, that type of thing, and doing a great job there. So we just feel really engaged with the ToolBank, and we invite you and your organization to be engaged in whatever way you can and in whatever way is meaningful for you. It could be time, it can be dollars, it could be advocacy, whatever it is that you feel like it is an asset that you can bring to the table to help, quite frankly, propel this organization forward. So we're, once again, appreciative of your hospitality